Hi, I'm Daz. I'm one of the Lost and Found team. We go searching all over the Lake District for people's items that they've lost in the lakes, up in the fells, anywhere. There's a group of us who we go out. We've all got our separate skills. I mainly go scuba diving. We've got free divers, we've got metal detectorists, we've got magnet fishers. We've got a vast range of skills. Um, in our part time, we're all amateur treasure hunters as well. So today, because the weather's absolutely rubbish, there's no way I'm going up the lakes diving. I thought I'm going to show you one of my tricks on how to find treasure. I'm going to show you how to make a glass bottom bucket. Now, you might have seen me using one of these on the television programmes we do. Well, a glass bottom bucket is exactly what it says. Bucket with a glass bottom in it, and that's for looking through the water. So if you sit that on top of the water, you can see through it like a magnifying glass. It's almost like being in there as a scuba diver without all the effort, without getting cold, without any of the equipment that you need. But these are brilliant because 90% of the stuff we find is in the shallow water. So you can literally walk along with this and you can see clearly to the bottom. So if there's something like an old bottle, which is what I mainly do it for, if that's lying on the bottom, you can see really clearly through the bottom there. Especially if you've got a torch, because one of my other buckets has got torches and stuff built into it, as well as cameras, and it shines right down. Really good bit of kit. So today, I'm going to show you how to make one of those. So the first thing we're going to need, a piece of glass. Now this isn't as easy to find as you'd think. This was actually a 2-tier table I found in B&Q or one of the supermarkets for a £5. It was on offer for a £5. And there was 2 pieces of glass, one on top, one on the bottom. So I've already made a bucket out of one of the pieces of glass, and I've got this one left to make another one to demonstrate how to make another bucket. So that's cost me £2.50. So you're just going to have to hunt around. I can't suggest where you can get pieces of glass, but I'm sure second-hand shops, charity shops, supermarkets, things like that, you should be able to get something like that. That's obviously shatter resistant as well, so it's going to be perfect for the job. I have made them in the past, in the early days, with even clear polythene bags on the bottom, bits of perspex, stuff like that, but they get scratched, you can't see them through properly. These proper glass ones are much clearer, really good visibility through the water. So we've got our glass, we then need a bucket. So the bucket I use, these are just, get these in any DIY place. They're a planter bucket for obviously planting bushes and things like that. But you can see they're tapered, so they're ideal for what we want because we can drop the glass inside until it hits the point where it's going to fit. So if it was just straight, you'd have to find a piece of glass that was identical to the width of the bucket. But because it's tapered, it can take a range of glasses. So this is perfect for this piece we're going to use today. So I'm going to show you some of the tools we're going to be needing. We need a drill. Most people have these sort of things at home. But we have a drill, a jigsaw. Don't worry if you haven't got a jigsaw, you probably use a handsaw, a hacksaw, a sharp knife or something like that. Masking tape, that's blue, doesn't matter what colour you get, but masking tape. Permanent marker, a bit of string with a knot on it, or this is off a package you got earlier, one of those plastic tie-wrap things with a bit of a kink on it. You might wonder what that's for, but it'll be self-explanatory soon. Bit of sandpaper, we'll show you what that's for soon. The most important thing is the sealer, because we're going to have to stick that piece of glass into the bucket, and if it's not sealed properly, you're going to get water coming up through it, and we don't want that. It wants to be really sealed tight, and it also wants to be stuck in there permanently. We don't want it popping out. So this stuff I'm using, there's various different makes of it. It's car windscreen sealant. It's used for bonding car windscreens in, and it's about £7 a tube, so it's quite expensive, but it's altogether it's going to cost you about 15 quid to make one of these. So it's not really a killer. It's, let's say, about £7 a tube, which is polyurethane sealant. I think it's always black, but it's available on eBay, all the internet shops. Because we're using that, rubber gloves are a must. This stuff, when it gets on your hands, doesn't come off. It's a nightmare. So please wear rubber gloves or you'll be picking it off for weeks. So, next thing we're going to do, we need to find out whereabouts this glass is going to go, because obviously we're going to have to cut the bottom off this bucket. So if you look through there, you won't be able to see anything. You have to cut the bottom out, but we need to know where the bottom is. So I'm going to drop the glass in to find out where it sits. This is where your string comes in handy, or this, because that's going to go under there, because when we drop this glass in, it's going to get stuck. So I'm going to drop it in, get it to a good point. So if you see there, that's now in perfectly, sitting absolutely square. That there, now I won't be able to get it out, but that there, if I pull it up, I'll pull the glass out. So that's what we need that for, otherwise you could struggle to get it out. So I'm going to take a minute now, I'm going to get that perfectly square in there, and I'm going to get the permanent marker, and I'm going to draw a line around it, so we know exactly where that glass goes before we remove it. This is going to be the hardest thing, getting it square. So I've made the mistake of leaving it out, so let's put it back in. Bit fiddly this, it keeps sliding around everywhere, but that didn't look too bad. Right, I'm happy with that now. So what I'm going to do, I've got that nice and square in there, permanent marker, and I'm going to draw a line around that. Because otherwise when we take it out, we won't know where that sits. Doesn't stand out very well, but it stands out enough for me to see. So I'm going to lift this out and pull the glass out. Glass is out. So I don't know if you can see that, but I've got a black line inside there now. So that's exactly where the glass sits. But what I want is a little bit of a lip on the bottom, about 20mm long, so it protects the bottom of the bucket. So when I sit it down, when I'm not using it, it's not sat on the glass and scratching it, it's going to be sitting on the rim of the bucket. So we're going to have to cut the bottom of the bucket off about 20mm below that line. So to do that, we need to cut it from the outside. So we need to transfer that mark from the inside to the outside, because it's not easy to cut from the inside. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to use my drill. I'm going to drill a hole about 20mm in a couple of places. Not that to be perfect, it's just so we've got a lip. Just so that we've got a reference all the way around the bucket. So now, on the outside, I can see where that line is that I drew. This is where your masking tape comes in. We're going to get the masking tape now. And I'm going to line that up with the holes, go around the bucket. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you see now we've got a line, we've got a reference now, so we're going to cut around there now with the jigsaw. So first thing we'll have to do is make a little bit bigger hole so I can get the jigsaw blade in, because it won't go through that hole. Dead easy, it's only plastic, so I'm going to get the drill bit. And I've just elongated that hole, so now the blade of the jigsaw will go in there, so we should be able to cut it round. It's a wood blade in there, so bear with me for 5 minutes while I just change that blade over and find an extension lead, because it isn't plugged in either. Right, so welcome back. I've changed the blade in, so I've now got a metal blade in. Metal blades cut plastic really well. So we're going to find that slot that we made with the drill. I'm just going to carefully cut. there you go. Bottom half of the bucket, you can still use that for putting plants in. It's certainly coming useful for something. This is the bit we're interested in. That's the bit. If I put it in the right place, this glass is going to sit nicely. Let's try it. Definitely. So yeah, there you go. The glass is sitting in there nicely. Just needs gluing in now. And then we've got another glass bottom bucket. So we'll pop that back out. This is where sandpaper comes in, because we've got a bit of a rough edge around here now. Plus, when it's new plastic, it's got like a film of like an oily film almost on it, and that's going to stop the adhesive from bonding to it. So we need to get that off. So I'm going to do it by giving it a good sand. So that's nice and smooth now, no edges on it. Nice and scuffed up, so that's giving the key, what we call a key for the silicone sealer to fit in. Now this is going to be my next trouble, I think, because this silicone or this polyurethane hasn't been used for a while. So I'm hoping that it hasn't gone hard in the end, otherwise we're going to have to stop the video again and start again. But let's see. I think it's gone hard. What have we got? Just going to cut the nozzle a little bit bigger, and hopefully it's still soft underneath there and not gone hard in the top. So, looking like we might have problems here. Let's see what it's like if we take the whole nozzle off. Should have thought of this earlier. But let's say it's only because the weather's rubbish. I thought we'd make a bit of a video. Result. We haven't got a nozzle on it, but we have got fresh sealer down there. So we get the gloves on, because this stuff is horrible. And it isn't coming off. It holds car windscreens in. They don't come apart. Cars are held together with the stuff. It's really, really strong. Once it's on and it's gone hard, it ain't going anywhere. Right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put a bead of sealer. It's quite hard, this stuff, especially because of the temperature at the moment. It's very cold in here. I think it's about 1 degree today. So I'm putting a bead of it right where that permanent marker line was that I put on earlier. Getting there now. So I've got a big bead of that round there now. What I'm going to do is just going to lightly even it out. Doesn't have to be, let's say, if a bit of this goes over the glass or it doesn't look particularly tidy, it doesn't matter. The main thing we're bothered about is it being waterproof. So I'll just try to smear it into about a 5mm bead. So right over where that permanent mark line was. Now, we'll carefully drop the glass in. This is harder than it looks. Get it in the right place. So I'm happy with that. And I'm just going to smear this without dropping out. What we're going to do is tidy the edge up. Just pushing it in, smearing it off. Hopefully not getting it on my clothes. And get a bit more on the inside. Don't worry if you miss a bit. If it does leak a bit, you could always add some extra at a later date, but I don't want to get on site and it starts leaking, so let's get it perfect straight away. So that's it. That's the glass glued into the bottom. Bit of a mess around there now, but I'm just going to give that a bit of a clean up with some paint thinners. So once it's cleaned up, clean that off before it goes solid. Otherwise, it could be a nightmare. You can get it off with a Stanley knife blade, but it's easier to get it off while it's still wet. You're going to end up with that. Get the gloves off. Got it on me, horrible stuff. Straight in the bin with them. And that's what you're going to end up with. Glass bottom bucket, very solid, going nowhere. I've got attachments on here for torches. I've also got attachments for cameras. That just floats away. I put a lanyard on that so as I'm walking along and I'm doing other things, looking for bottles and stuff, that's just dragging along behind me so I don't lose it. But brilliant bit of kit, really good for searching streams, really good for searching shallow waters. You'll find coins, old bottles, all sorts of things, fishing tackle, you name it, you can find it. And the shallows is where everything's at. So glass bottom bucket, brilliant bit of treasure on the kit. Thanks for watching.